Welcome back to the Dargslan Linux series. This is part 2, and it's where things really start to click. Today, we're stepping away from icons and windows and learning to talk to your computer directly through the terminal. It might feel small at first, just typing words into a black screen, but this is the mindset shift that unlocks everything else in Linux. Here's the path we'll walk together. We'll start with why the terminal still wins in a world full of graphical tools, then break down the anatomy of a command so any line you see makes sense. From there, we'll navigate the file tree, peek inside files without opening a single app, and learn to create, copy, and move things safely. And we'll close with the speed tricks that separate beginners from pros. So let's start with the obvious question. In 2024, why bother with a black screen and blinking cursor? 3 reasons. Speed. Once the commands live in your fingers, you'll outpace any mouse. Repeatability. A click disappears the moment you make it, but a typed command can be saved, shared, scheduled, run across 1,000 machines. That's the seed of all automation. And universality. Servers don't have desktops, so when you SSH into a machine halfway across the world, this exact terminal is waiting for you. And before you start memorizing commands one by one, here's the shortcut that unlocks all of them. Every Linux command follows the same 3-part shape. First, the command itself, what you want to do. Here, ls to list files. Then, the options, little flags like -l or -a that tweak how it behaves. And finally, the argument, the thing you're acting on. In this case, the folder home user. Command, options, arguments. Once that pattern clicks, you can read commands you've never seen before. So now let's actually open one. On a Linux desktop, Ctrl+Alt+T is the fastest way in, and it works on almost every distro you'll meet. If that shortcut doesn't fire, just search for Terminal or Console in your app launcher. On macOS, hit Command Space and type Terminal. And good news, macOS is Unix underneath, so most of what you learn here transfers directly. On Windows, install WSL once, and you get a real Linux shell from the Start menu. And finally, from any terminal, SSH user a host drops you onto a Linux machine anywhere in the world, which, honestly, is where this all starts to feel powerful. Once you're in, the very first thing staring back at you is the prompt, and it's quietly telling you 4 things at once. Before the $, sign, that's your username. Who you are right now, which decides what you're allowed to do. After it comes the host name, the machine you're sitting on, and that matters the moment you start jumping between servers over SSH. Then the path shows where you are, with the tilde, meaning your home folder. And finally, the sign at the end. $1 means you're a normal user. A hash means you're root. And when you see that hash, slow down. Now that you can read the prompt, let's give you the 3 commands you'll genuinely type for the rest of your life. First, pwd, print working directory, answers, where am I, by showing your full path, and it's the cure whenever you feel lost. Then ls lists what's around you, with -l for detail and -aa to reveal hidden files. And cd, change directory, moves you around. cd into a folder to enter it. cd ... to step up 1 level, or just cd on its own to fly straight back home. And speaking of home, Linux gives you a handful of shorthand symbols for paths you'll use constantly. The tilde is your home folder. A single dot means right here in the current directory, and 2 dots mean 1 level up. You can even stack them, like cd ... to jump up 2 levels. A lone / is the root, the very top of the file system, and the dash is a clever one. cd- bounces you back to wherever you just came from, like Alt-Tab for directories. Now those shortcuts lead naturally into a bigger distinction. Every path you type is either absolute or relative. An absolute path starts with a / and works from anywhere on the system, always pointing to the exact same file. That's what you want in scripts, config files, or anything you'll share. A relative path starts with anything else and is interpreted from wherever you currently are, which makes it perfect for quick, interactive work when you're already close to what you need. Once you can navigate to a file, the next question is how to read it without opening a heavy editor. For short things like configs, cat just dumps the whole file to the screen. For anything longer, less lets you page through calmly. Q quits/searches. And when you only care about the edges, head shows the first 10 lines and tail the last 10, with tail F being the classic move for watching a log file update live as your system runs. Reading files is one half of the job. Shaping them is the other. Touch creates an empty file, mkdir makes a folder, and the P flag quietly builds any missing parents along the way. CP copies, MV both moves and renames in a single step, and RM deletes, with R for folders, and no recycle bin to save you. When you know a folder is empty, RMDR is the safer choice, because it refuses to delete anything more than that. And since RM has no undo, it's worth pausing here for a moment. 3 habits will save you. Remember that deleted truly means gone. Always check where you are with PWD before deleting, and use the I flag when you're unsure. It'll ask before each file. The infamous RM, RF, OSH tries to wipe everything from the root down. Modern systems block that exact form, but close cousins still work, so build the habit of running ls first to see exactly what RM is about to eat. Now let's shift gears and talk about speed, because once you're comfortable, these 6 tricks change everything. Tab completion finishes names for you, so you type less and misspell less. The up and down arrows walk through your history, and Ctrl+R searches it as you type. Incredibly handy when you remember part of a command. Ctrl+C cancels anything that's running. Wildcards like star and question mark let one command act on many files. And alias lets you invent your own shortcuts. Drop them into panicking and they're yours forever. And here's something worth remembering. When you get stuck, you almost never need to open a browser. Linux documents itself. The man command opens the full manual for anything. Try man ls, and you'll see every option laid out. If that feels like too much, just append help to a command for a quick summary. And for real-world examples, install TLDR. It's a community-maintained cheat sheet that shows you how people actually use a command, not just what it can do. So let's pull the threads of part 2 together. Every command follows the same shape: command, options, arguments, and once that clicks, you can read any line you encounter. The prompt is always telling you who you are, where you are, and what power you hold, so glance at it before you act. Pyabud, elas, and seed will become muscle memory. Aram, on the other hand, deserves a moment of caution every single time. And tab completion plus arrow key history? Build those habits from day 1. Your future self will thank you. And that brings us to the end of part 2. Up next, we head into part 3, files and directories, where you'll learn how Linux organizes everything from the root down and meet find and grep, the 2 commands that turn your terminal into a genuine search engine for your machine. Take a breath. Maybe try a few of today's commands in your own shell, and I'll see you in the next lesson.